everybody's doing good today on Sunday, I think May 2nd. Yep, Sunday, May 2nd. I'm headed down the highway, go back to work. It's a 6.5 hour drive. Go home about once every 2 or 3 weeks, so there's no work up where I live. Gotta go out of town to find it. Usually like to do my driving on Sunday evening, because there's just not a lot of people out where I live. I can usually drive, sometimes I can drive an hour, hour and a half and not pass another car. I kind of like that. But, you know, Sunday evening, I'll put me down to the job site. I'll be down there around 11 or so. Well, my RV will be down there about 11. But like I said, Sunday's just a good evening to drive. Son has a band concert today, first one I've gotten to see, so I was really happy to be home for that this weekend. This video is just, I'm literally just killing time and driving, so I have nothing to do but operate the truck for 6.5, 7 hours, depending on if I stop for dinner. So just set the cruise to 75. That's the legal speed limit, and let her eat for 6.5, 7 hours straight. So, but I do a lot of thinking and driving and driving and thinking. But been listening to some old truck driving music from the 70s. That's always good stuff. You know, Red Sovine, Phantom 309, C.W. McCall, Convoy. If you're a fan of any of that music, you understand. I know I look like I'm a little young to listen to that, but the new stuff nowadays just doesn't hit it. You know, I probably haven't listened to any kind of new music in 10 years. It's just not there anymore. I quit listening to new country music probably, I don't know, like 2005, 2006. There's just not much after that that's any good, in my opinion. I mean, there's a few artists here and there, but the bulk of it, you know, if you took a bin full of music from nowadays, I'd take it and throw it right in the trash. You know, late 80s, early 90s, pretty good stuff. Keith Whitley, anything George Strait's good. I'll listen to that. But I like rock too. You know, grew up listening to classic rock. Even weird stuff. Rick Wakeman, if you know who that is. Journey to the Center of the Earth's a really good album. Classical music. Bolero by Maurice Ravel. You know, just I don't look like the kind of the guy to listen to classical music. A lot of times, if I'm in the mulch or shredding trees, I'm probably listening to classical music, just because I can. So it's good stuff. But like I said, right now I'm just burning up the highway and talking to you. If you're listening and watching the channel, and maybe somebody will see this video, maybe not. Who knows? I only get a couple of views on most of my videos, and you know, it is what it is. It's just kind of something I do every once in a while. I'd like to get a media manager and things like that, but just don't have the capability to do that right now. But got to be home for a few days, so that was nice. And then had to do a bunch of mowing. We have county cemeteries that I mow, and mowed a bunch of those this weekend. Run Kubota zero-turn mowers, obviously, because I'm Kubota orange all the way. I'm really happy with the products, and the equipment runs really well. As hard as we run it, it runs well. Only had a couple problems here and there with, you know, it's just emissions equipment. If the government would get their nose out of, you know, running trucks and construction equipment, everything would go back to running like it's supposed to. But that ain't the case. It's just like death, you know, saving the environment one plastic jug and cardboard box at a time. You know, here we go. So, but I don't make the rules, just gotta abide by them. So I try to find older stuff that doesn't have emissions sometimes. Just bought a Mack dump truck. It's an 04 Mack Granite CV713 with a 9-speed. And if you watched one of the other videos, I kind of did a quick description of it. But it has no emissions. It's a good truck. Sit there and idle all day long, or putter around the location loading trucks and getting loaded, and no def, no parked regen, no nothing. Just drive and go. That's what I like about it. And the other construction equipment we run it's all, a lot of it's late 80s, early 90s. I think the newest thing we got is like a 98 model C13 or 613C scraper. It's got a little bit of a torque converter problem right now, so we're going to try to make a decision on it in the morning if it's going to limp through the job or if we're just going to park it, try to make do with what we got. The other scraper is a little bit older. It's got a 3208 turbo in it, and it seems to run just fine. So we're just going to have to make a decision on it tomorrow, see if we want to keep running it. None of us are a fan of pulling the engine to fix it, so may just sit there the rest of the job and then we'll get it fixed. But we're not 100% it's the converter either. It could be something else, but it kind of sounds like torque converter noise. It is what it is, though. That's a risk you run buying used equipment. You never know somebody before you's taking care of it, or if they ever took care of it. Probably the number one reason I just don't buy used trucks. I know how I run a truck, and yeah, I run them hard. They don't get cut any slack, but they get oil changed every 5,000 miles, and I keep very detailed records of everything that gets fixed, when it gets fixed. If they're in warranty, they go to the dealership every time. I do not. Yeah, it costs me a little extra money, but if they screw it up, it's on them to fix it. If I screw it up, it's on me to fix it. So, pick your battles. My suggestion, if you've got a new truck, take it to the dealership, get it serviced every time, as long as it's in warranty. After it goes out of warranty, it's up to you. Do what you want to with it. But, you gotta have a good dealer also. And all the years I've been around trying to find a good dealer is 99% of the problem. I used to drive nothing but Dodge. That was all I drove. And I moved, and I ran into a dealer that just, it was a, I can't even think what year it was, 2012, 3/4 ton crew cab short bed with Hemi in it. Running truck, loved it. Driving home one day, it dropped a valve and locked smooth up. No warning, no nothing. The dealer had it for, and I didn't even have a gooseneck ball in it. I didn't tow anything with it, really. It never towed anything more than a lawnmower on a trailer. So that's not what caused it. But it sat over at the dealer for 90 days. And I was told point blank that we'll fix it when and if we want to, and if you don't like it, that's too bad. It's okay. So I went to another dealership, made a deal on a Chevy. They went and looked at that Dodge. Dodge was, I mean, it was in mint condition. You know, full set of WeatherTech floor mats, front and rear bumpers, vent visors, tinted windows, spray and bed liner. Nice truck, super nice truck. And they said, yeah, we'll buy it for, I actually got a little bit more than what I owed on it. And I went and bought my 2015 crew cab long bed 3/4 ton Chevy 6.0. Still drive it. I'm not driving it today because I usually drive the diesel pickup back and forth because it gets considerably better mileage. But I drive that flatbed pickup almost every single day. Got almost 160,000 miles on it now. Love it. Good truck. But you know, that right there was the end of the line with Dodge with me. I won't own another one. And there's no Ford dealership within a the closest Ford dealership where I live is about 70 miles, and I'm not going to drive 70 miles every time I need something. Walmart's 70 miles too, so keep that in mind. But there's a Chevy dealership over in Oklahoma that's about 20 miles from the house. That's where I go. Jess Wales Chevrolet there in Shattuck, Oklahoma is the closest place to me. And it's a great dealership, great folks. We've really built a relationship with them. We've bought, and I don't even know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vehicles from them in the past. The past 5 years, we've bought eight vehicles from them. They're not a medium-duty dealer, so when I need to get the 5500 service, they'll service it. They'll do the oil and everything, but anything else, I'm supposed to take it to a medium-duty dealer. I bought it at Carter in Okarche, Oklahoma. I probably would never darken their doorway again. Just, they were interested in making the sale and nothing else. I went to pick the truck up after hours, got out of the parking lot, and the parking lots wouldn't work. And I had a friend of mine with me, and I had fuses, so I put fuses in it, and park lights all came on. So, all right, cool. So I'm driving home, and it's almost 11 o'clock at night. I get into a small town. How the park lights go out? Everything except the headlights, gone. And right about that time, there was a local sheriff. He pulled me over, and you know, your park lights just went out. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, try to stick another fuse in it for me, so at least we can say we tried. Your hazards work. I said, yeah, they work. I only had miles to the house. He said, well, just hit your hazards and drive home. He was real cool about it. There wasn't nothing I can do. It was 11 o'clock at night. I tried a fuse, dead short, pow, blew it immediately. So I drive it home. I pull it in the shop the next morning. I crawl around under there. After a couple of hours of troubleshooting with a test light and a multimeter, I finally found a problem where they had welded channel iron to the flatbed to bolt it to the frame. They didn't bother to pull the wiring harness out of the way. So everywhere they welded that channel iron, it melted the wiring harness for the bed. It took me 3 hours to put it, and it was up in places it was hard to reach. 3 hours to fix that harness and get that truck where the lights would work. Everything works fine now. But it had a recall on it. I took it over there to that Carter Chevrolet, and the speed limiter was set for 75, but it actually kicked in about 74. And the speed limit in Texas is 75. It's actually 80 out there on I-20 and I-10 going towards El Paso. Been out there, it's 80. And I take it in there, I want the speed limit raised, and they said, well, it'd be $350. And I said, well, that's convenient. My shop labor time is $100 an hour. So here's the pictures of where I had to fix your screw up. So I guess you guys can raise the speed limiter for free. And they did. They really didn't have a leg to stand on. They delivered a product that wasn't checked. And I know I'm probably not the only one. So you gotta make sure you check stuff and learn my lesson. Don't pick anything up after hours. Won't do that again unless it's from my dealer there in Shattuck. But a lot of stuff I have to learn the hard way, trust me. Like I was telling my son yesterday, I said there's nothing more expensive than trying to do the job and then doing it wrong and having to pay out of your own pocket to do it again. There's nothing more expensive than a job you had to do twice. It just kills you. You can't survive that way. I got to drink coffee. I still got a long ways to drive. But you know, a lot of it's just trial and error. It's like, I'm a creature of habit. If I find something that works and works well and doesn't give me any trouble, you are pretty much going to have to pry that out of my cold dead hands, because I will not change. Yeah, that's a big tire skin in the road there, car. It's like, you know, Kubotas, I've had good luck with them. I've got a bang-up dealer there in Amarillo, James Brothers Equipment. I probably won't deviate. I don't see any reason to. My only complaint with Kubota is that they don't make a skid steer big enough. And I've been eyeballing one of the Takahachis, the TL12, and that's a lot more machine, considerably more machine. And did the Kubota video spot, and they had a couple of engineers out. I told them, you guys need to get a bigger machine out here. I'd like to have a steel track option with bolt-on rubber pads, and I'd like to see it now. More horsepower. You need to get rid of the combined radiator cooler in the back. You need to change that to a radiator only. Put the hydraulic cooling up on the roof in a protected enclosure. And that's, I mean, if you asked me to design one, that's exactly how I'd do it. That way you're not just combining all that heat in one spot. You can divide it up into 2 spots. Needs a reverser fan too, I've learned. It really needs a reverser. But it's getting there. You know, it's just trial and error on some things, and they got guys that are a whole lot smarter than me building this stuff, but for the dumb old country boy that I am, that's what I'd like to see. And you know, trailers, all my trailers are load trail, with the exception of one Big Tex, and we just got it because that's what he had and we needed a trailer. I have no complaints, been a good trailer. Don't pull it much because it's Class A CDL required, and I try to avoid driving the 5500 and that gooseneck as much as possible, because anything like that is just a magnet for DOT, and I just don't like sitting on the side of the road for an hour and a half with DOT doing a level 1 inspection. It's just not exactly how I enjoy spending my time. You know, and that's another reason I like to travel on Sunday, because your highway patrol presence seems to be less on Sunday. Not always, not everywhere, but it just seems to be less on Sunday. But you know, Load Trail, I've got a dealer there in Amarillo, Kaufman Trailer Sales. Again, you know, it'd be hard to get my business away from them. You know, they'll bring it to the house. If I can't get over to Amarillo and pick it up, they will, you know, they make sure everything's good to go. I take my DOT inspections to him to get those done. You know, they're Johnny on the spot about fixing any problems they see, taking care of me. You know, I'm a big service after the sale deal. If you just want to sell it and you never want to see me again, you probably never see me to start with. I like to know that if I've got a problem, you as a dealer are going to be there to take care of it. That's how I am with Chevys. I've had really good luck with them. They've been good products. Dealer takes care of me. We own 5500 4x4 crew cab, which I need to do a review video on. I just have not had time. Then I've got this red Z71 single rear wheel 1-ton. It's kind of my personal pickup, but when I worked for the oil field company I left, I put 80,000 miles on this truck in just no time. This truck's got 86,000 miles on it. It's not even, it won't be 2 years old until the end of July this year. So I put the miles to them big time. I've only had a couple of initial problems with it. Had a bad fuel pump from the factory. I was in Colorado, it started giving me problems. I was able to milk it through the rest of the trip, get it home, replace the fuel pump in the tank. It's had a couple of belt tensioners put on it. I've had a rear axle pinion seal replaced on it, like 25,000 miles. And then number 4 ejector wiring harness, and say it was either an ambient temperature sensor or a manifold pressure sensor. I can't remember which one, but I had the sensor replaced. You know, and this was all stuff that was at like 25 and 30,000 miles. She didn't give me any problems in the last 50,000 miles. So it's been a real good truck. I really like it. It's bright red. It's got front replacement on it, headache rack. It's a good looking truck. Then I've got the 2020 regular cab long bed that I did a review on, which, you know, we've had pretty good feedback on that review, which I need to do more reviews. It's got 30,000 miles on it now. I've got one of my employees in it, and it does everything we need it to do. We've outfitted it with a headache rack, traffic control LEDs. All my trucks have traffic control LEDs on them. Do not go cheap with those. Get the ECCO brand. just don't go cheap. One of the guys I worked with one time ordered a set from eBay. They looked like the Eco brand, and just, they were junk. Half of them quit working within like the first week, and then I know another guy that bought a set and they never worked. So, you know, don't skimp out on the LEDs, because those are there to save your life. They're there to protect you from somebody running into you. Make sure they work, and they work well. And get a real attention getter pattern. Don't get a slow blink. You can change your patterns on those. Probably need to do a video on that one day, because I set up all my own trucks how I like them. Everything gets a fire extinguisher on them. Everything. They all have fire extinguishers on them. Those get changed out every year. They all have triangles. They're not all commercial vehicles, but never hurts to be safe. Then I've got my 2015 crew cab, and I've got a Tahoe that my wife drives. And then, like I said, I've got the medium duty. I've got a Ford. I've got a 97 F4. Well, it'd be an F Super Duty. It'd be a 450 is what it would be, but it's a Super Duty. And it is a Super Duty because it runs 10 lug wheels, and the GVW is 15,000 pounds. It's not an F350. It's got a gigantic solid axle front end under it. Gigantic rear end, and it runs 456 gear ratio. It's got a 460 and a 5-speed in it. It's a monstrosity. I built it into a winch truck with a welder on it. It's a good truck. Then I've got a 12 valve that I bought off of my neighbor passed away last fall, and I've helped him work on that truck a million times. Put a clutch in it for him. I've put a fuel pump on it. I've done a lot of different things on it, and I asked, after he had passed and his wife was starting to sell some of his stuff, I asked him if I could buy it, and she was glad to sell it to me. She passed away in February, so we've lost both of them, and they're out at the cemetery now, and I make sure I say hi to them when I go out there and mow. It's hard losing good friends. Keith was a real good friend, and it's hard losing him. He loved to tinker with lawnmowers and small engines. He was forever tinkering with something. But, you know, I got a 95 Chevy Suburban also. It's kind of an off-road rig. And then I've got a 98 crew cab, long bed, 1-ton, 2-wheel drive Chevy pickup that's, we need to put a flatbed on it. I just have it parked. I don't mess with it, don't drive it. I just don't have time. But, you know, the bulk of the vehicles we drive are Chevy, simply because they do a good job with the least amount of problems I've encountered. And I've owned, I don't know, 10 trucks, or more actually, probably several more than that. And I put, you know, 100-something thousand miles on every last one of them. So I got almost 2 million miles of drive time under my belt. For me being my age, that's a lot of time behind the wheel. And that 2 million miles is including what I've driven when I've had company trucks, and it's just a lot of miles. Spend a lot of time behind the windshield. But I'll get in the truck and drive it 11, 12, 13, 14, 1,500 miles. I can verify that. I have witnesses. I drove from my house, South Dakota, in, I don't know, about 12 hours one day. It's almost 800 miles. I've driven from the California state line to my house in one day is 950 miles. I drove from job site in West Texas to Tolleson, Arizona and back in one day. That was 1,556 miles. Driven from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Little Rock in one day. That was 900-something miles maybe. I've driven from Rifle, Colorado to my house in one day. I want to say that wasn't that far. I can't remember the mileage, but it just takes all day because we went through Independence Pass, and that just takes a lot of time to go through Colorado because the speed limits are low and it just takes time. Really pretty, it just takes a lot of time. So, but I'm a driver, that's for sure. Like I warned you in the beginning of this video, this is just nothing but me having nothing to do for 6 hours. So I am not going to talk for 6 6 hours. The GoPro battery won't last that long. But just talking about life topics and why I do what I do. I've worked in oil and gas a lot. I've worked for companies. I worked for Chesapeake Energy at one point in time for several years, quite a long time actually. I worked for myself before the oil field stuff. Same thing, construction, house pads, welding. You know, I like to work for myself, but I like to work for a good company also. And whenever the good company changes, has massive management changes and no longer becomes a good company, then that's when it's time for me to go. And that's what I do, is go. Go find something else to do. I don't want to deal with it. But you know, if you've worked in the oil and gas industry, you know how it is. It's feast or famine. Right now it's kind of famine. We had feast for several years. You know, that kind of work has taken me to Wyoming, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio. Worked up in the Northeast for several years. Just been a lot of different places, a lot of cool places. Seen a lot of things a lot of people wouldn't get to see. You know, if it's good for you to get out and see things, that's for sure. Don't be one of the kind of guys that never leaves the county. I know a lot of guys like that. They just never been anywhere. And you hang with me for very long, you never know where you're going to go. We might take a job in South Dakota tomorrow, truck everything up there and work. It happens. So right now we're working 6 hours away from the house. There's just no work up there where we live. It may come back. I'm not going to hold my breath, but it might come back one day. I hope it does, for the sake of the people that don't have the means to get out and go do something else. I hope it does come back. That's why we try to shop local when I'm home. You know, I got 200-gallon tanks in the bed. I fill those up at the wholesale fuel there at home, right there in town, the only gas station we have now. Fill up all my vehicles there. Any gas and stuff like that I need for the job site. A lot of times I'll fill it up there, bring it with me. You know, when we're home, we try to eat at the local restaurant. We only have the one. We try to eat there a couple times. You know, pump some money into the local economy. It's hard. We lost our school last year. There's a lot of factors into that, but that's not something I'm going to get into. Just a lot of people playing political games is what it really boiled down to. But they got what they wanted, and they got the school closed. My kids get on a bus and go 28 miles away to go to school every day. They get on the bus at 6:15 in the morning. They don't get home till 4:30 or 4:45 in the afternoon. It's a long day. But it's just the way it is, I guess. We had a gas station that closed this year. Our owner passed away. We have a post office. We have City Hall. And we have one cafe that's left open. And you know, we're one of the only businesses there in town anymore, and we're not even around that much. You know, I do a lot of mowing on the weekends and stuff for people, but you know, there's just not that much around anymore, and it kind of sucks. But that's the nature of things, unfortunately. But it's part of being in a small town. It's Panhandle of Texas relies on oil and gas, and if you're not oil and gas, you're a rancher. And I'm neither particularly. I'm oil and gas when it's there. There's just not any there. You know, we're actively trying to find work out in West Texas, things like that. A lot of people are scared to spend money right now. It is what it is, but we will travel just about anywhere to go to work. The family that we did the big clearing job last July and August for has invited us back to go for another round, and they've got a lakefront area that they want to clean up, so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun. They're really good people. They're really nice, and I like to work for good people. So and then there's another family that just bought some property kind of out that way that they've got a bunch of cleanup work and stuff they want to get done, so we're trying to get done with the subdivision job that we're on, and maybe go hammer down on some of that stuff, and maybe do an oil field facility in there too, which that'll be good. It's been a while since I built one. It's been about a year, a little over a year, but you know, 2021 it's looking to be a pretty good year, so we'll just kind of ride it where it goes and see what happens. But you gotta evolve, and you've got to be diversified enough to handle different things in different areas at different times, I guess. And you know, we're getting there. We're small company. It's just me running it, and then I've got 3 people that work with me and for me. Well, 4 really, but 3 full-time. And it just takes a lot of effort. It takes 14-15 hours a day, 6-7 days a week to get it done. And I tell you what, it ages you fast. I was looking at a picture of myself 10 years ago. Didn't have a white hair one, no wrinkles around my eyes, nothing. I got white hair popping up everywhere. The wrinkles around my eyes look like the Nazca lines. But just kind of stuff ages you fast. But running hard 24/7 will do that to you. If I could do it all over again, I'd still do it. I would, knowing what I know now and everything else, I'd still do it the same. Well, if I had a few different options, I might choose some different options, but most of it I would do the same again. And you know, there's very few things I would change. I'd like to get a little more time at home with the wife and the kids. I got to see my daughter's dance recital Friday night and my son's band concert today, so I'm truly blessed to get enough time at home to do that, and I was very thankful to do so, because I have missed just about everything they've done, school functions and extracurricular wise, for the past I don't know, past 8 or 9 months. It's not fair to them, but I hope they understand when they get older that it's not because I want to be gone. Trust me, I'd love to be at home every night. And if you're at home every night and don't appreciate that, shame on you, because you have no idea what it is to be gone, watch your kids grow up, and you never be there. Shame on you if you don't appreciate it. So, you know, I just, like I said, I hope they understand when they get older that it's not that I didn't want to be there, because I for sure wanted to, but hopes and dreams don't pay the bills, keep food on the table, and keep them in clothes, and keep gas in the car to take them to all their functions and everything else. If hopes and dreams did that, I'd be a millionaire. I'm already a millionaire, rich with family. I love my wife and my kids. They know that. But you know, like I said, if you're home every night and you're watching this and you don't appreciate that, then you need to take a step back and reevaluate what you're doing. I know every guy in a 14-14 rotator, or 11-3 rotate, or 7 on 7 off rotate that would gladly take your spot over to be home every night. A lot of them would. So just be thankful for what you got. But you know, it's hard life. Some people are built for it. Some people can't handle being gone all the time. Some people can. You know, it just is. It's just, like I said, it's just a different life. If you can't handle being gone all the time, it ain't for you. But it just makes all the time at home that much better, I guess. You know. Now I'm gonna stop and refill my coffee cup somewhere. Well, I have jaw jacked for 36 minutes apparently, according to the GoPro. So I'm probably gonna get off here and get out and stretch my legs up here at this rest area. Still got a little ways to go, but I need to get out and walk around a little bit. It's part of getting older. You start getting stove up. You gotta get out and stretch your legs, and that's probably the most important feature of this truck particularly, is the heated seat. It ain't for warmth, it's for everything that hurts. Turn that old back heater on, feel a whole lot better by the time you get where you're going. Everybody stay safe, take care, hug your kids, tell your friends and family you appreciate them, and go to work, come back home the same way with all your fingers and toes and upright. Take care.